All right, hey, there I am. How about that? Thank you, Marie. Thank you for reminding me to turn my little button on the console. There you go. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll just start all over. Good morning. Coffee Conversations with Greg J is on. We're talking NFTs, cryptocurrency, got our coffee and everything like that. Before we get into this with Rhonda Love, she's got a lot to say about this. I want to bring her in and just kind of share reflections on what we experienced this past weekend as we did attend the Supermint NFT conference deep in the arts district of downtown Los Angeles. It was cool. It was funky. Lots of hip hop, lots of vibrations. It was really cool. While we're bringing Rhonda Love in, we want to just kind of shout out to the people over there in Europe as things are beginning to implode. But, we read Rhonda found a statement today from the NAACP, standing up for the Africans that are in the area. They're not being treated fairly at the border. We'll figure that one out a little later and kind of get some people to talk about it. But the whole NFT cryptocurrency world is right here. And, Rhonda, are you there?
Hi there, I'm here. Good morning.
She is Rhonda Love. Yes, yes, yes.
Hello.
She is the resident NFT cryptocurrency guru, founder of the blockchain camp, and got me out there in the NFT conference here this past weekend. We went to Supermint. And Rhonda, first, let's just tell the people what Supermint was. I just can only describe it as a NFT conference, but you have more words to add to what we experienced this past weekend?
No, you said it in a nutshell. Simply an NFT conference in Los Angeles. It was their Genesis conference, their very first one, and it was a collective of artists and builders and those who service the NFT ecosystem, just all together in one location with lots of
Mhm.
panels and discussions and information and music and exhibits and so forth.
One thing is sure, this whole cryptocurrency NFT situation is here. Is not going anywhere. There was a lot of people at this experience, and a lot of information to be exchanged for sure. Rhonda might be somebody on here that says, "All right, what's an NFT?" And then there's others that may say, I get it, but why would I buy something that only exists on my phone? And I suppose those are valid questions, but we've been told that people north of 40 probably are going to have a hard time adapting or understanding this new paradigm.
Well, if you're asking what is an NFT, just please know that you're not alone. This is very very early in this technology and in this ecosystem. So everybody's asking that question. Right now, as it stands, probably only 1%, if that much, of the whole continent are in this space as of yet. But it is absolutely growing leaps and bounds. And so, yes, the question in this particular area is what is NFTs? And so NFT stands for non-fungible tokens. And so fungible, let me just explain what some fungible mean. Fungible means that something can be swapped or and exchanged and it doesn't lose value. So if I have a 10 and I give Greg a if I give Greg a 10 and he gives me back two fives, it's the same thing. If I have two fives, or Greg gives me 10 ones, it's the same thing. 10 is 10 is 10, whether it's a $10 bill, two fives, whether it's, a $10 bill is all a 10, it's all $10. So non-fungible means that they're uniquely different and they can't be swapped like that. So the Mona Lisa can't be swapped for a Picasso. They're completely two different items. Tick, arena tickets. If you've got seat number one and two, we can't evenly exchange them for seats 20 and 21. They're all uniquely different. And so that's pretty much what a non fungible means. And so you take and you tokenize that on the blockchain where you can store the value of it. That kind of creates this whole thing that we're seeing with regards to NFTs. So you can take a piece of art and you can store it on the blockchain and give a token of its value and store the value of that piece of art on the blockchain. And I know I don't want to get too heavy, but you store the value. So NFTs are non-fungible tokens. It's a way of storing the value of unique items on the blockchain, where there's ownership and tokenization, where you can resell that item and so forth, do an exchange.
Now, before we go forward, you've become quite the expert in this space, and I know you've got now the blockchain camp. Tell the people a little bit about it, and then if you can, just put it in the chat how people can connect with you so they can get that in-depth, information that you have to share with people who may want to enter into this arena.
Thank you. Well, I'm really excited to be really back wholeheartedly in this tech space. And blockchain technology, which is what NFTs, metaverse, and all of this, is riding on Web3 rather, is really pulling people from all walks of life, all industries into this space, because it's literally going to flip a lot of industries and just bring in whole new models that are better in terms of community and sharing economics. So I'm really happy to be in this space. What a lot of people don't know is they know me from either from business administration, executive, or media. But when I was going through college studying broadcast, I actually was a software engineer at Xerox. That's how I put myself through school. So I learned, Java and HTML and C++, and all of those different programming languages, PostScript, PCL for printers. I learned all of that, while working at Xerox, getting through college. And so this is just this whole, so we watched the .com blow up. We watched Web 2.0 come on the scene, and we watched all the social media explosion and everything. And so we didn't really know what was happening and everything. And so I say that to say this time around with Web 3.0, we're like, okay, we've seen this before and we know what's about to happen. And so we have positioned as early adapters. And as a matter of fact, me and a lot of my colleagues from Xerox back in the day when we were developers at Xerox have come together, so that we can definitely be a part of what's happening, this next fourth industrial revolution and next phase of Web 3.0. With that blockchain camp, I formed that as a way of teaching, because there's a huge educational curve, global educational curve that's needed. And so I started out just kind of refreshing on the technology, what's new with Web 3.0 as opposed to Web 1.0 and Web 2.0. And with that, just kind of connected with some great, amazing people. Countries like India, Africa, Dubai, those countries are already kind of ahead of the curve in terms of knowledge and understanding it, and being, crypto owners, especially with Bitcoin and so forth. And so I reached out to those countries, to my friends in those countries, developers, programmers, to just kind of, get ahead of the curve, if you will, and understand the technology. And so with that came the opportunity. I saw the need, really. I saw the need to really help others understand this space. And so that's where Blockchain Camp was formed. And we're going to be, one of our first courses that we're coming out with is because it's so popular, is understanding NFTs. So how to help people get certified in NFT space, and then the next will be metaverse, and then blockchain technology.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So we traveled together to the Hubble Studio deep in the Arts District of downtown Los Angeles to attend a 2-day conference, the Supermint, the NFT conference. We heard from practitioners from various levels, almost every level in this whole NFT game, right? Legal, music, sports, entertainment. I mean, it was just, a wide range of brain power, right, in this space, to share how they are moving forward in this new frontier of the crypto universe. Also, sharing success stories, I guess, if you will, and how they're going about doing things. And what struck me about being in that space is, I spent the weekend, the saying that I'm attached to my vibe for that weekend is something that Stevie Wonder used to say is watch with your ears. And so that's what I did. I walked around, I listened to, discussions and, just kind of vibed on the whole thing. And it's very fascinating to see this space. I do think that so you see educational applications to it. I do see also, the art category in the NFT space as being kind of the sweet spot, if you will, of the many applications you could use in this NFT blockchain world. And talk a little bit about that. We did a art NFT art exhibit a couple of weeks ago, or planning one now in the art walk. And I know that we have learned that there's a tremendous, misunderstanding about what the art value of the NFT world really is. But in fact, it's quite valuable, and I learned that coming out of this conference. Speak to that a little bit, Rhonda. What do you think? Is art really a valuable sector inside of the NFT world?
It absolutely is. And it just kind of creates a new opportunity for creators of arts and lovers of arts to come together in a very decentralized open source space, and bringing value to both. If you are, a digital artist and you've been creating art, you can put your art on the blockchain, the value of the art. You don't put the tangible on there, but you can put the value of the art on the blockchain in the form of an NFT, store the value there, offer that token of ownership to the person who wants to buy your art or consume your art or enjoy your art. And then the beautiful thing for them is, just like in the physical world, the blockchain and storing the value on a smart contract on the blockchain allows you to resell that token. And
Mhm.
so, and which is very, very valuable. I one of the things I've been doing is having tons and tons of sidebars with, as you said earlier, those who are north of 40. And
Mhm.
I'll just share this my little pitch and spill, if I may. If you are north of 40, you are probably old school and you're used to seeing your Picassos on the wall,
Mhm.
and with your paperwork in hand and ownership. And you're used to having to have it insured. And you're used to probably have a party and inviting people to your house so they can see, you can show your art off so you can floss your art, if you will. This particular, I don't want to say generation, but I'll just say this era, because it's so many different age groups here. But for the most part, we're in a very digital centric space, if you will. And so this generation today loves all of that about art. They're high income earners, just like we've always been, with the need for art to offset taxes and all sorts of things, or just be lovers and consumers of art. But what we're seeing on the blockchain in terms of NFT is we're seeing those same lovers of Picassos, people who love Picasso, they want their Picassos in their phone, which is where they live. They want their Picassos in their technology space. And
Mhm.
so NFTs give you that through the ownership. I had a friend say, okay, I kind of get that part, but I don't. What's the big deal? Well, there's ownership there. You can the same. So pretty much it's everything that we do in the physical world in terms of that Picasso, in terms of the paperwork that comes with that Picasso. It's now in the phone. So my art, my Picasso is now in my phone, and the paperwork of ownership is now on the blockchain in the form of a smart contract. And I can sell it just the way I would sell that Picasso that I had on the wall on my house. It happens on the blockchain in terms of that ownership. And it could be either tangible art, physical art, that where the value is stored there, and then once you sell that art, you ship it to the new owner. And then there's a way of creating authenticity in terms of that ownership as well. Or it could be the actual digital art that's in the phone that you're transferring on the blockchain. And so that's a side if you're the consumer of the art. And so I had a friend say, Well, I still don't get it because I mean, if I like a piece of art and it's on the digital, I can print it and enjoy it. Yeah, you can also Google the Mona Lisa. If you Google Mona Lisa right now, it'll come up on Google, and you can download a copy of that, print it up, and look at it and everything else, but you don't own it. And
Mm.
so there's the ownership component of it as well. So and there's various different just various different benefits. Another benefit for artists is that it just gives them an opportunity to just create some revenue. And if you do it really well, if you do pieces that people really love, kind of like Beeple sold a $69 million piece of art through Christie's auction house. If you're doing it, the beautiful thing about it as well is with the value of it being stored on the blockchain, you can put in your contract, your smart contract, that for the life of this piece of art, whenever whomever owns it is selling it, that artist can get 10%, 15%, whatever you decide to put in that contract on the blockchain for the life of that piece of art's ownership. That artist can still get a residual income off of it. So there's just tons of benefits with regards to this ecosystem for artists.
That's a very healthy conversation in the season that Coffee Conversations with Greg J is in. We've been working real closely. We kicked it off last week. We've been having a series of discussions about the creative economy, right? And while we in that series, we kind of focus on blacks in classical music. I mean, what you're talking about is a new economy in the creative space, and definitely has its rightful space in the discussion of the creative economy, and it's brand new. That's the one thing that I really realized, or was underscored for me as we experience the Supermint, is how new everything is, and people are just coming up with stuff to try to make it happen. But then there's also the collectors. It was Money B from Digital Underground, the legendary Grammy nominated hip hop group. Money B was there. In fact, they performed, but B was there, and he was like, "Yo, I got a bunch of NFTs. They're not worth nothing, but I just want to look at them and look for images that look like me." That was a very profound statement from the podium there for me, because it is sometimes, like you say, there, I just want to have the stuff in my phone and own it, and enjoy it in that fashion, that digital fashion. I'm just here for it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was really profound what he said. And he says, I've got, what did he say? I'll try to quote his exact words. He says, I've got 50 pieces of art. He said, and he said, none of them worth
Yeah.
shiznicky. Shiznicky, I'll just say
Yeah.
that's what he
Sugar
said.
honey
You
iced
know,
tea.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But he said he bought them because for one, he wanted to support that artist. And for number two, he enjoyed it. He said he tends to buy a lot of black and brown art,
Mhm.
and art that made him feel good about himself, or that he could relate to, and made him, just feel good about who he was or who he is. And so I thought that was really great. And it's no different than, there's tons of art out there in the world that we buy. Everything doesn't have these top high value, resellable numbers to them, and they don't have to, because oftentimes the currency is just enjoying that art. The currency is is supporting that artist. You
Mhm.
know. So and it all depends. Also, there's so many different ways. The smart contract, which is just basically the agreement of ownership. It can provide so many different things. There's art that's been created where the currency is just buying it from that artist. Then sometimes artists will transfer the rights to reproduce that art. So if you buy a piece of digital art, that artist may transfer reproduction rights in there in that contract. So that means now you not only own this piece of art, but you have the rights to take and put it on a piece of shirt or put it on some merchandise and so forth. It just depends on the agreement and what's written in that transfer of ownership.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. I also learned some music applications, entertainment applications. I thought it was interesting with the group, what were they called, Audio Chain, and what they were doing. The record label, there was a digital record label. What do you call it? A digital record label, or an NFT record, a crypto label? What would we call them?
Well, you know what? He said he wasn't the first crypto. He wasn't the first record label on the blockchain, but he's the first NFT label.
Mm,
So all of his music artists, everything is done on the NFTs and in NFTs.
mhm, mhm. So as I understand it, because I had to ask one of the young lady that performed, Kayla Love, right? Great job too, by the way. Rapper from the Bay Area came and ripped it up for us out there. But I guess she's very, what was it? Was it Crypto Girl is her handle out there?
Crypto girl, yes.
Yeah, so she, Crypto Girl, but she dropped her project out as an NFT. And I guess in that NFT package is her image, a little voice memo from her, hey, what's up, everybody? Just, whatever she's talking about, the single, and maybe a video, I think is what she said. But this is the NFT package that you get if you purchase it wherever you purchase the NFTs. And so
Yeah,
mhm,
absolutely.
mhm. She had a pretty hefty price on there though.
Yeah, she did. You find that a lot. Well, and what you're speaking of, her package, you're right. And also you hear the term utility, like what's utility? What were you providing? And so the beautiful thing with an NFT, you give them the graphic image, which of course is exhibited on the exchanges. If you're going with OpenSea or Wearable or one of or something like that, then you list that piece of art, that NFT on those exchanges. And so you have the image, the graphic design, you have if you've attached music. It could also be a speech. It could be a poem.
Mhm,
It could be an experience. You just, so the packaging it's what is this experience? What is the utility of this? What are you providing to, the owner of that NFT? It could be, and one of the things Money B said with regards to their NFT that they were launching, that I think they launched it the next day after,
mhm,
they launched it yesterday, Monday. One of the things that they were offering was, in addition to the graphic designs and the music, that you also get access to their concerts. You also get a special price, I think, with their metaverse. He talked about Digital Underground having literally an underground, that they own property in the metaverse, I believe on Sandbox, and that you can go underneath the property underground. They have an underground museum, where you can enjoy music that they did with like Tupac and others. The music isn't sold, but they are able to share it, in this space, which I thought was really, really unique and interesting. But and then Crypto Girl, she had, she, of course, hers was very pricey, and you'll find that a lot. But she had her own utility or experience that she provided with it. So
and somebody's buying it,
somebody's
that's
buying. And I think she told us it was 350, three
yeah,
hundred bucks or something like that,
yeah.
350. Yeah, which is, it's not a lot. And then the other thing too, a lot of gamers, if you will, did very, very well, with cryptocurrency. They were early adapters to Bitcoin. They bought Bitcoin when Bitcoin was like, $5, $2, and so, if you bought a lot of those coins when they were $2 and $5, and they're now, at one time 65,000, and now
Mhm,
today they're like 40,000 or 44,000.
mhm,
You did pretty well. And so what's happening, in which we've talked about this before, is what's happening is that there's a need for not marketplace
mhm,
of where to exchange this crypto. And so a lot of that is playing out in the digital space through NFTs on the exchanges, also through the metaverse. If you're in the metaverse, you're creating experiences there, whether it's concerts, whether it's courses, whether it's events, and then also, kind of like the gaming world, you can buy fashion, NFT fashion. So like Coca-Cola, one of the things that I share in my presentation is I share some of the digital fashion. And so one of those pieces is Coca-Cola has this red bubble jacket that you can buy as digital fashion, where because you're literally dressed up and attend events in the metaverse. And so you can get, if you want your Coca-Cola bubble jacket, bright red, bright blue, or whatever, you can purchase that in the form of an NFT. You own that jacket and attend that event. So it's kind of gaming as well, world of gaming and ownership, and community in a very decentralized fashion that's happening.
It's very interesting, the metaverse. And I was trying to figure out, do you have to have the Oculus glasses in order to, participate in this? And, I found that to be a very profound question. Like, what is the end user experience? You know?
Yeah, what I remembered you asking that, and the answer was no.
Hmm. Hmm.
It depends on the experience that you're having. I mean, they have Ray Bans, so the Oculus, that's just one experience. But say, for example, like with Ray Bans, another technology that's happening is the ability to put on a pair of Ray Bans and walk down, like we're down in that East Village Arts District. It's art on the walls everywhere. There's murals everywhere. Imagine being able to put on a pair of Ray Bans, and just hitting a little button on the side and being able to see that art on the walls become 3D and coming out at you or something. You're standing there and you're able to see this, this art that's painted on the wall in a 3D form. And so, your virtual realities, and so depending on the experience that you're having will determine, the type of product that you need to enjoy it.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. I remember seeing some videos that were taken in Asia, I guess, and the LED panels on the sides of buildings had such a 3D depth of field. It looked like the car was coming out of the building onto the street, or the water was crashing down onto the street, because the way that the LED panels and the depth of field was so realistic, right? And so this is almost the same thing, except you're in this whole 3D world here with your glasses and your Oculus stuff and everything like that. And while we don't need Oculus. Look, I'll see you with it to that penny jar over there to get us one.
Oh yeah, definitely. They're on their way. Gotta have it,
Wow.
gotta have it.
Gotta have it, right? So
Yeah.
virtual reality is here. I mean, so much so, even Facebook changed their name to Meta, but we would point out, you were saying Meta is not really the metaverse.
So Meta is so you have full on blockchain, and then you have inspired blockchain, and so the difference is that one has a total decentralization and tokenization, meaning that you're able to share ownership, and the other one doesn't. And so with Meta, you have all of the blockchain experiences that are there, all the metaverse experiences, but in terms of decentralized and tokenization, you probably won't see those two components in there because, Facebook and Meta are coming out of the Web 2.0 era, and the Web
Mhm,
2.0 was really all about it was about social, about social. How can I say this? It was really about providing services. It was about social
mhm,
media providing services to us and not
mhm,
necessarily ownership. So
mhm,
at most you probably see some in term if you see tokenization in those worlds, you see more of the rewards as opposed
mhm,
to ownership in terms of financial ownership or currency that can be converted, to money.
mhm, mhm, mhm. Now, we did see, using the Oculus glasses, the young lady was making art with her glasses to music. She's dancing to the music, and the vibrant colors and the patterns she was creating were showing up on the giant screen in there. And I was just saying, wow, okay, that's what our kids are doing upstairs, in their room, with their Oculus glasses, is making stuff, right? It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, like I've shared with you when you spoke that when we're coming back on Sunday, and I said, yeah, I mean, we're living in a time where your kids can literally come out of the room millionaires,
Right.
depending on what they were in there creating.
Wow.
You
They
know,
can they can come out of the bedroom very wealthy, depending
How
on what
many
they're in there
Oculus
creating.
glasses y'all need?
Yeah, and that was interesting to see her. She literally did a painting with the Oculus glasses and the handles, and we
Mhm,
watched her
mhm,
to her do a painting right there in front of everybody, And so I had asked the camera guy. I said, "Okay, what's next after she completes this painting that we're watching her, create?" He didn't quite know. I mean, it's such a new world. And he says, I don't know. And it was so funny. He says, you have to talk with the stage manager. And so I talked with Alex, who was a stage manager for them. And so, of course, the next is to mint it, do the process of minting it, and that is to put it on an exchange. So,
Mhm.
and I think that portion they didn't do that at the event, but that'll be the next steps. And that piece of art that we saw her create is to put it on mint it and put it on an exchange.
Mhm. Mhm. Now, the lifestyle of that whole experience was, hip hop, old school hip hop, because it was, we saw Digital Underground. That was an incredible set.
Yes.
Made me just reminisce about the guys. And I remember I was in the industry when they came out, Money B. I mean, it was all young kids, back in the day. We're all a little older now, saw Paul Stewart. We saw Lonzo, the godfather of West Coast hip hop, who you gave a clinic to help my brother, gain an understanding of what we are coming into with this Web 3.0. I'm sure you'll be hearing from him soon because that was really great and deep instruction that you gave us right there on the floor of the Supermint. But I say this: the vibe of that whole thing was, hip hop, DJs, cannabis, beer, street tacos. It's just a whole really urban underground feel to the whole thing, and with young people who are lawyers and like, okay, I'm trying to figure this whole thing out so we can really make it a strong industry here. And it just lets me know that what, it's coming, it's on the leading edge,
Mhm.
it's coming, it's here, it's not a fad, this thing is real.
No, no, it is real. It's not going anywhere, and it's you see what's being said in the media. The media spends a lot of time on crypto per se, because crypto, for lack of a better word, but crypto is kind of, I don't want to say threat, but it's intimidating to the status quo, to
Mhm,
our financial systems. And so a lot, you see a lot of discussion about crypto,
mhm,
and of course NFTs, and the metaverse as well. But
mhm,
when you are there in those ecosystems, face to face, in
mhm,
person, you can see this industry is not going anywhere. Thank you for sharing about Lonzo too. It was phenomenal. I was blown away. It was nice to be a blessing to him, but I'm telling you, it was incredible for me, because as I'm sharing with him, I can see him light up. When people are getting information, we light up.
mhm,
And I
mhm,
started to see his face really light up and get it. And it meant a lot for him to just really thank me the way that he did, for sharing that with him. And I think what really got me is, I share with him that, we're actually working with VIP Records. And
mhm,
I've got a meeting today with them, so we can begin to get them in that ecosystem. But when he asked the question, he says, "Well, what can I do with Eve after dark?" you
mhm,
know,
mhm,
and just kind of begin to think about, just some strategy for him on the spot, and being able to share a concept with him that he could see, that
mhm,
I think he's going to probably do something with,
mhm,
was really it was really
mhm.
exciting to do that. It was awesome to do that. So
Yeah, it's just very interesting. A lot of those people that were in attendance were all about taking the content that they have in the NFT space and just, flipping it for, they're trying to make a profit, but the prospect of preserving culture is so immense, man. It's
yeah.
just really, really something. And that's why I was asking the question about if they were, connecting the bridges with Africa and everything. Because, anything in the cyberspace is international, it's global. You could touch anybody, and it's just an opportunity, I think, for us to elevate culture, to preserve even the more, to go back and get photographs and images that are probably now in the public domain, or I don't know, just even with permission, just of historical moments, right, in our culture that otherwise would not be really memorialized in such an artistic manner, and then even help stimulate the creative economy, whether that's generating like the shared ownership that we've described, or maybe as part of that shared ownership, it becomes a fundraising tool to some sort of social justice or human rights initiative out here in these communities. I mean, there's just so many things that we can do in this space for the good of the people. But preservation of culture is, man, right there at the forefront.
Yeah, I mean it's endless. I mean Web3 and the blockchain is just creates a whole new world for everything, every sector, every industry. There isn't anything literally that this technology can't touch, which is really amazing. Just the whole global, not just decentralization, but global decentralization and open source. It creates opportunities for everyone to have voices and to form communities that have never been able to be formed before. Right now in the NFT space, there's the whole thing with art and music
Mm.
and everything, but what's being built out is ownership of real estate. How do we buy cars in this space? Pretty soon, I mean, up the road, the ownership of your home is going to be in a form of a token,
Mhm.
a smart contract that's on a blockchain, and you have the token for that ownership, as opposed to tons and tons of physical paper and documents and everything and records. Everything it changes everything. And in terms of Africa, uh, Africa is leading the charge on the crypto side in a very big way. They are the leading owners of crypto, of bitcoins right now. And so I really hope, and I'm really excited about that. It's really great that they were early adapters, and a lot of countries and markets that didn't necessarily have leading currencies in the global market were early adapters to this space, to crypto space, in particular Bitcoin. But in Africa leads in terms of ownership of crypto, and so it's going to be really great to see them branch out and not just be the owners and the consumers, but also to be the creators and also be the builders. In terms of African Americans, and to your point, it is definitely opportunities for us to use these platforms to really build out. And there's quite there. You got Naja Roberts, you have Black Bitcoin billionaires. You have so many, on and on and on that are in this space already, that are just building out tremendously, and people of color in general are just really branching out. I was just at the Latina Empowerment Summit that was held here in Long Beach on Friday. And so they were talking about being in the DeFi space, banking and finance, and how they were getting ready to move their financial organization. This one company that was a sponsor, they're going to move their organization onto the blockchain. That's DeFi, decentralized finance. And so it's literally endless what this new technology is going to be able to touch and turn over for us, and provide not just ownership for a few, the way that the way that Web 2.0 did for social media. Right now we're buying our songs on iTunes, but there's going to come a time when you'll be able to buy a limited edition of a song and be able to sell it. You can buy the song on iTunes, but you can't sell it. You own it, and if you discontinue your membership, you no longer have access. So blockchain technology, with NFTs, DeFi, metaverse, and all of those sitting on that technology, is literally going to change a lot in terms of benefiting communities and
Mhm.
being able to share the ownership.
Mhm. Mhm. It was definitely interesting. I also see, an opportunity for the young lady called it the legacy sector, but she was describing the legacy, meaning your older artist, right? So now going back in the vaults and getting photos and images and snippets from Stevie Wonder's. You know, I sat there and I was just like, wow, this is really, really fascinating, and I can connect the dots with the legacy sector after we met the young rapper Kayla Love, and she was one of her touch points for her takeaways from the whole Supermint experience was that she was able to convince her grandmother to get on and get into this whole NFT crypto space. And I do think that hip and active seniors we'll jump into it. And now that's where your legacy sector really can go to work, if you have those rare photographs of those legacy, music artists and movies and TV shows and on and on and on, because they exist out there. And now, now they can participate and enjoy those through this blockchain world. Who have been thinking about it a lot there, Rhonda Love.
Yeah, you're in the rabbit hole. Welcome to the rabbit hole.
you know,
Now you see why I can only sleep 2 minutes a night.
yeah, it's really, really something. It'd be interesting to hear, I mean, clearly we saw some people who were high level executives, and they were truly examining the legalities and the essences of coming into this space. I think the problem that they're going to run into is that it is decentralized, and I think that's the gold mine of the whole experience. It's kind of, government really can't really touch it and regulate it. you know on the other hand, I would suppose we need to pay attention to security. There's bad actors in everything, right? And so if people are afraid of bad actors, I mean, that I have to say that bad actors are everywhere. So we just need to go in with and let the good outshine the bad. But I say that the executive level people, just to note that major media companies are coming. They just got to figure it out, right? They've got to figure it out. And how does it all work? I thought it was interesting when they described inside of the metaverse how advertising was sold on different spaces inside of there. It'd be interesting to see what those dollar matrix are like. Does the audience want advertising, right? How you know what I mean? It's like we may not want to hear all that yibber yabber, while I'm enjoying
Yeah,
my
yeah. But if you own a token on that network and got a check coming, your a transaction coming on your blockchain as a result of all that advertising, you might think differently. And that's the one of
why?
the
Because I'm
benefits of it.
participating.
Yeah, because you're
Yeah, yeah.
sharing, yeah, and that the tokenization and being able to share in that. See, right now you're bombarded, but I mean, when you're on YouTube, you're bombarded, but where does those advertising dollars go to? I mean, it doesn't go to you. I mean, they have your identity, they have your analytics and all of that great stuff, so that they'll know what to serve you, so that the advertiser benefits because they get access to your eyeballs, and YouTube's benefits because they get the check, and that content owner, they give the content owner barely anything, for the use of content that's drawn you to that platform. But think about YouTube on the blockchain, where there's tokenization and you have ownership there, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so now that kind of creates a different mindset, and everything else. You touched on a lot of really great points, and I want to make sure I don't forget some of what you talked about. One of the things that you mentioned just about, if you're older, and just the benefits of in that blockchain. I attended the licensing expo last year, and there was an introduction. An agency introduced their NFTs, services to the community there. And a couple of things I thought was so cool. Their particular interest is in sports, was in with college students and high school students. And you didn't have to currently be a current college student or a high school student. So case in point. So say, for example, you went to Compton High, right? Like my nephew. I had a nephew who, he just killed it when he was at Compton High. And let's just say he's in his 40s now, or 45, and he didn't, you know what I mean, and he didn't necessarily do the whole big huge NBA situation, but he was incredible as a high school athlete, and if he was covered correctly, and to your point, like you talked about having all those old pictures and images and everything, we could literally recreate that experience through his videos, through his pictures, creating his avatar, and recreate that entire experience for him in the metaverse and through NFTs. And he could make that particular athlete can make more money than they ever would have made going into the pros. It just depends on how they're created, that experience you create, and depends on the community that embraces it and loves it. If you were, hey, let's just, it was a lot of of hip hop artists back in the day, and maybe you're sitting now, you're 55, and you didn't necessarily get that big contract with Def Jam and or whoever the case may be, but you own all of your music. Guess what? You can take all of that music, all of that content. If you created music videos back then, take all of that, create yourself an avatar, and put it in the metaverse and find your community and probably do better than any of those contracts that they got back then could have ever paid you. And that's the beauty of it, is that it's ageless and it's timeless, and you can read because you're creating worlds in this space.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Really, really phenomenal. The
Mhm.
Supermint had a guy on there who I hope I'm going to be able to attract him to come on to Coffee Conversations with Greg J. But that was the brother Reginald Grant who specialized in entertainment and sports and that. And I really wanted to ask the question. I didn't get a chance to ask the question, but you mentioned sports and all that. So we're seeing more professional athletes dive into this space. They're even saying, "Hey, of my $100 million contract, I want to pay 5 million in cryptocurrency, and all
Bitcoin.
that." And I'm curious to know how that works, and then too, hopefully, as they dive into this space, they have more ownership of their image, name, image, and likeness. We heard a lot of that over the course of the weekend, and I feel like the gentleman made it sound like, it was a little easy for them to own their name, image, and likeness in order to operate in the NFT space. But I know how these leagues lock down those players' images and especially the logos of the team. So if I have an action photo and I want to mint it as an NFT, how do I hide my I'm gonna have to hide my either hide my team's colors, my uniform, or enter into some sort of shared contract in there if the league is set up like that.
Well, I think that whether it's NBA or whether it's an artist that's signed to a major record label, first of all, I think that all of them, all of these big agencies, whether it's NBA or whether it's a record label, are retooling their legalities and their contracts. Of course, we know about the 360s and the music business and everything, but everybody's kind of retooling. I think it just depends on the contract, and I know that we had one artist who was in the NBA that's going to be joining us. I think he's in the NBA, but and I won't share his name now, but he's in a serious battle with regards to, yeah, it is the NBA, because I remember, so the NBA put out an article or a press release saying, that they were not in support of the athletes using their images in the NFT space. And so that's a whole big, front that's happening right now. And I think it just depends on your contract, and then again, everybody's kind of retooling right now. So the thing is this. So you've got the NBA trying to figure this stuff out. You have record labels that are trying to figure this stuff out. The question that I asked, or kind of, brought up for conversation at the event, was with regards to the position that CSAC and BMI and ASCAP, what position are they going to take? What position is our government going to take? Right now, it's unregulated from the top down, and those regulations are being put in place. How we're going to deal with it? What does that look like? Whether it's crypto, whether it's NFTs and ownership of art, of the art, who owns the art, how is the art secured? How is it authenticated? Its authenticity, just all of those things. I mean, and it's on all levels. Even we're experiencing that as we try to do these exhibits. We just got a contract from a corporate, a corporation, and just reading through that 6 or 7 page contract, you can see where the understanding of the space is still brand new, and just in the terms and how it's noted in there, that there's still a learning curve even for them in terms of their understanding of this industry. So I think it's all just, the regulations are just up in the air, and we're waiting for them to settle, whether it's government or corporations.
Do you think that, corporations are so afraid of this new plateau that they just like not trying to learn about it, or are they actively trying to engage so that they can create the paradigms they need to participate in this? Because, at the end of the day, it still helps them too.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of aspects to blockchain technology that need to be understood and then figured out and regulated. I mean, from security to its the currency. I mean everything. Like with us, we were gonna this exhibit that we were gonna be doing that we're doing working on doing now that we wanted to do at a part of a corporate chain. So their situation was okay. Well, the situation there, a part of it was that there is no exchange of currency there, or the currency that's exchanged for this art, it's crypto. It's not fiat. It's not, the US dollar. So how do you handle that? So I think that there's so many different aspects and layers that this technology brings that has to be figured out, whether it's security, whether it's currency, what does that look like? Just all of that. I mean, I think, and our government entities, whether it's local or state or national or federal, they're definitely going to wait until the regulations are in place, from the Securities Exchange and so forth, before moving forward, because our government is in the business of fiats, of U.S.
Mhm,
dollars and
mhm,
taxes, and
mhm,
so you're talking about crypto and Bitcoin and all of that. Of course, we're seeing changes there as well. We're seeing now that Cash App has to report the transactions there, in terms of cryptocurrency,
mhm,
converting in Bitcoins and all of that stuff. And so I guess in short, it's all in the air right now. And that's the one thing that was constantly shared this weekend and has always been shared, is that we're just waiting for the regulatory here in the States to take place.
mhm, mhm, mhm. Well, it's interesting because I'm hoping that I know that we are on the leading edge of being, because we are at our core, we are advocates, producers, promoters of arts and culture, and that's just what we do, whether it's what's the term I heard this weekend? IRL, in real life, or
In
in
real
the
life, yeah.
virtual space, right? I mean, that's just what we do, and so we're going to continue to advance on the leading edge of this new technology, these new spaces, but at the same time, we always want to operate, as I say, decently and in order. We do proper business, but it feels like these places where we would move in and out of are clear. It's so baffling that they just don't even want to talk about it, right? And I feel like that's a kind of a closed-minded way of looking at the whole thing, because it's not going anywhere, right? And then, also, I feel like a wise business observation would be, and I'm speaking just off the top of my head, and I know I'm probably speaking for people, but that's how I would look at it if I were sitting in those seats. Certainly you want to figure out, okay, how like is this event to other traditional events? So am I worried about the money exchange if this was just a traditional art event versus an NFT art event? Then if I'm participating in the commerce of that, then maybe I need to have a really regulatory, point of view on the whole thing. It's just really kind of crazy to me. It's almost like institutions don't want to talk to you.
Well, I don't think that, because we all can see that this is a force to be reckoned with. It's not going anywhere. It really is the fourth industrial revolution of the world that we see happening. I mean, we're looking at right now. I mean, we're looking at the blockchain technology, but in terms of that whole ecosystem that Web3 brings, Web3 is bringing not just blockchain technology that has DeFi and metaverse and NFT sitting on it, but it also is bringing AI, artificial intelligence. It's also bringing virtual realities, it's also bringing robotics. I mean, it's just, there's a whole plethora that is coming with Web3 technology, moving us from Web2 to Web3. And all of that stuff has to be figured out, And so I think when you don't have an answer, the best response is no answer or silence until you figure it out. But I think going back to something that all of us were saying, we all were saying this weekend, for one, it's a wild, wild west right now because of
Yeah,
all of that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That was
yeah.
one thing we kept talking
I
about this
can't hear.
weekend.
Yes.
We kept talking about that. We also kept saying that we're early, it's new.
Mhm.
There were all these all early. And the other thing we kept talking about is that it's still unregulated, and so we're just waiting for that, that to happen. But if you want to know whether this technology is going anywhere, what is it? Humans Need Not Apply. There's a documentary, a 15-minute documentary that you can just Google on YouTube, and it'll tell you in terms of the AI and robotics. The other thing too is, if you go to the Library of Congress, and if you just look there, they actually have for trademarks and patents, this industry in terms of virtual reality, augmented reality, robotics. They literally have their own separate link now and portal on the Library of Congress's site, because there's so many registrations that are happening, and they've been happening for a minute now, with regards to gearing up for this new industrial revolution that's happening and taking place. But it's very new, it's very early. Right now, the other thing that we really talked about a lot, and we've been not just at this event this weekend, but it's just been the conversation for a couple of years now, and that is the education of it is very important right now. Just getting people educated to understand this space, in addition to, the regulatories that are happening, is very, very important, is the educational component. And the education is important because, for one, it just kind of helps people in that transition to this space. And for number two, with regards to security and protection, being able to understand this ecosystem is very, very important in terms of protecting yourself, because there are bad actors out there. I mean, there's always been bad actors, and it doesn't matter. There's bad actors that use crypto, just like there were bad actors that use the US dollar. It's no different. It doesn't bring anything different. And so the education in this space is extremely important, which is another reason why we chose to kind of initially focus on the educational piece while looking at the entire blockchain technology for, we do film, we're digital media people, so we're looking at it for the film as well. But we already have been educating in digital media, and so we're just adding this blockchain portion to what we do, because there's a huge need in understanding it. I know for me, my first experience with Bitcoin, was a scam. They call it I got rugged. I got rugged.
Yes.
My first experience, and I brought family in with me, in that, it was an investment that we thought it was cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, as a part of a Forex exchange. And turns out it was a total scam. And that's a whole nother show within itself. But that really is that's prompt me to do more than just get out of that situation, but to understand this world. And by doing that, I thought, oh my God, this is a whole new revolution that's happening, and it's definitely not going anywhere. I mean, and we're kind of slow adapters here in the States because we're waiting for the regulatory, but around the world, globally, I mean, look, Brazil made Bitcoin their currency. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, definitely here to stay. They wore that. They said you not do if you you ain't nothing if you ain't been rugged before. That's what I heard.
Yeah, I said, okay, I feel better now. I don't feel so bad about getting scammed.
Wow.
Like, what? Is that what happened? Okay.
Right, that's what happened.
That's what happened. That was my indoctrination.
Yes. They said that. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's exactly happened to me yet, but I got little baby holdings. I'm just going baby step in here, listening and moving forward, But it hasn't happened quite yet. But I'm sure after I heard what I heard over the weekend, I'm sure it soon come.
Yeah, I my first experience was a scam with Bitcoin, and then turned around and Elon Musk did a pump and dump on us right on Saturday Night Live on general market television. It's just like, whoa.
I don't think these rich people should have such such power in it.
Yeah.
I mean, because they're not for us. I mean, the whole underlying principle of the whole thing is independence, community, and, revolution, with the little man standing up against the machine. And then here comes like the richest guy in the whole world. His words cause, massive market crash. That's antithetical to what this industry is saying that it is.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
no, that's very true. And you share the same sentiments that a lot in the community share, is that it's really about community, decentralized, and so that everyone can benefit and grow, from the economics of this. And so in all honesty, people like Elon Musk and Kim Kardashian and a lot of the big names out there and everything. This community really kind of frowns on bringing that star power, if you will, into this, because a lot of them really did their thing and did well in social media and Web 2.0. But Web 2.3 really is about decentralized and opportunities for everybody. No hierarchy. It's a flat, that the infrastructure is flat. You know what I mean? And so there's no hierarchy in this structure. And um, to speak to what you just said, there's so many people who are leading the blockchain ecosystem share the same sentiments that you share, and that it's really not about bringing star power and all of that in here, but it's about an ecosystem that helps to share and distribute to everybody.
Mhm, mhm. Well, y'all, a little more as we keep going. We are going to refer back and forth to the blockchain because we are in it, leading edge, led by our general, Rhonda Love, right there. She's making stuff happen. Rhonda, put in the chat the blockchain camp information so we can
Okay.
know what to do and where we're going to go to get more information. I think this is a great, strategy, I think, as we go through this cultural revolution. We say often on this program and in our different media platforms that we are in a cultural revolution as a people. And now, we're global. We keep our global mind to it. And I think that this is a good way for us to get in the game, if you will. It's a good way for us to, um, build financial strength to promote cross cultural collaborations, to just elevate culture. Hashtag for the culture. That's what I see this as.
Yeah. So I just put Facebook. So you can go to our Facebook page, the Dream Creator Facebook page, and there's information there. I'll put also the Blockchain Camp site as well. And just so that people will know, so Blockchain Camp is the STEM program out of Dream Creator. And it's where we teach, technology and art and engineering and all of that great stuff through Blockchain Camp. So you can go there. We are taking position or position in several different areas of this space. We're bringing NFTs and blockchain technology to the Long Beach Art Walk, which is the second Saturday of every month. So we are committed to host artists and NFT artists and bring education to the art walk, to artists and those who love art and want to support art on a monthly basis. And then we have, of course, the blockchain camp. I'm teaching a course this Thursday, March 3rd, this Thursday at 11 a.m. Blockchain 101, Understanding NFTs, Crypto, Metaverse, and so forth. It's the second installment. We have the Genesis February 3rd. And so this is the second one. And we're going to be doing that every month until June. And that's kind of an informational session that we'll be having. And then on Thursday nights, we have Clubhouse, where we're talking NFTs and just the whole blockchain ecosystem. And you can go to either the Dream Creator Facebook page, or you can go to the Blockchain Facebook page, Blockchain Camp, and I'll put that on here now for that information. And we're so brand new, and we're building out, and it would be great to have you join us, and we'd love to be a point of education and learning and information for the listeners here.
I love it. I love it. I love it. We're going to figure it all out, and really begin to apply our different media platforms, to the blockchain and see what it do. What it do. That's what I want to
Yeah.
see.
We got some media coming on there,
Man,
and so yeah, we can't talk much just
you
yet,
know,
because we
not
yeah,
yet.
but Don't get it twisted. We once in media, always in media. So we definitely have some media situations that we're going to be making available to our communities as well.
Yeah.
So very excited, very very excited.
Yeah, it's very exciting stuff. Just try some stuff and see what happens, right? You
Yeah.
know, hashtag for the culture. All right, y'all, let's check it out. NFTs, cryptocurrency. What's a DAO?
Decentralized automated organizations, and so so right now when we see organizations, we're used to seeing CEOs and board members and so forth. And so and a decentralized automated organizations are organizations that are driven by the managed and driven by the communities. So you own tokens in it. The more tokens that you have, the more voting power that you have, but you're able to vote and make decisions. So there's no board making voting and making. There's no such thing as a voting board member. The entire community votes on decisions. So if you maybe you are an investment club in the form of a DAO, and your thing is globally, you guys buy real estate. So it's all voting. You vote on which pieces of property to buy. How are you going to settle those properties? You have your bylaws, if you will. But it's really it's corporate community, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, and it's all programmed. Your decisions are programmed in the smart contract on the blockchain, and you using what I call if then. It depends on how your situation's coded. You can even use algorithms in terms of your property searches, and if properties hit the market, for this amount, then do this. So you can all of your if thens, you can code all of that on there as well. But it's a digital organization owned, operated, and ran by a community who owns tokens, is what a DAO is, a DAO.
Well, there you have it, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us as we explore this brave new world of NFTs. We reflect on our experience at Supermint. We were there. That was the hippest place in LA to be, I think.
Yeah.
And if y'all listen, let me put it in really simple terms. If you all are very, apprehensive or doubtful about this whole crypto world, just think they changed the name of the Staples Center to crypto.com arena. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a statement that lets you know that it's coming, that it's here. There's something for us to pay attention to and explore and create and build our space right there inside the cryptoverse. Is this a good word for it? Cryptoverse. Well, it is now.
Yeah, that's a great word for it. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, all right. All right, y'all.
You got it.
Yeah, you guys get it. Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Look at it on our Facebook page if you missed it. It's also on Beach City Perspective. It's also on Beach City Radio. It's on LinkedIn and YouTube. And we're also going to repurpose the audio this afternoon and put that out there as a podcast wherever you get your favorite podcasts: Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, Google. I was sitting in the thing this weekend, right? I said, shoot, I'm on all the platforms.
Yes.
Yes, that's a good stuff. So, hit me up on my Spotify. Yeah. All right, y'all. Remember, love one another, love one another, love one another. I'll see you on Thursday. Peace and blessings.